So what does it mean to be an outlier or a purple cow or a unicorn? Let's just get into what Malcolm Gladwell has as a definition. And it's not his, it's a typical definition. It works. An outlier, 1, something that is situated away from or classed differently from a main or related body. Number 2, a statistical observation that is markedly different in value from the others of the sample. And again, that's just from the introduction of Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. So if I had to just try to explain what a source player is, those of us who are not from this particular game, stage, or matrix, this is not our origin point. This is not our starting point 0. Earth is not our beginning or our ending. Earth is some place that we're visiting, but it's not somewhere that we ever plan to stay. Source players, whether you're on a stage or just here to play a game, we're not bound by scripts. We can go off script. We can improvise at will. Now, again, this does depend on how far you are in your own development. Some source players don't even know that they're source players, which is why I'm really excited to do this, because I've met source players who are bound by something that is either blocking or erasing your memories, and you can't remember who you are. But you might be a source player. You never know. I can say that we can switch roles, we can switch scenes, we can switch games at will. So people will look at my career and say, well, how did you go from engineering and technology into fashion and art into philanthropy, and now you're getting into collegiate education, psychology, and coaching? And I said, yes, because I can do that. Think about Earth as just like a really big game board. When you go to the amusement park, you don't just ride one ride over and over and over. You select, you choose from the different experiences that you want. And that's what we can do. Again, some of you guys are source players who are stuck in your conditioning, and you have been doing the same thing over and over and over, and it's causing so much discomfort, so much anxiety and anger. Maybe it's time for you to kind of switch it up, you know? Another really important thing about source players, we are not these bodies. These bodies for us are literally avatars. We are the soul. So you may hear me interchangeably say me or my, not in reference to the book, but just me or my and the soul. But the soul is not separate from me, and I am not separate from the soul. I am the soul inside of a body. The same way a car doesn't drive itself unless it's autonomous or AI. Someone has to get inside that car and drive it. Again, these people call them vessels. Again, I want to be careful with language, because some of that language does come from cults and other psychological techniques to promote the group thought, the hive mind, the collective. So I'm careful about saying like this is a vessel. To an extent it is, but I want to back away from that. I'll call it somewhat of a tool. It's a tool that you, the soul, can use to walk around Earth and play the different games or get on the different stages. So it can be a tool, it can be an instrument. It is a body, it is an avatar, but we are not the body. Matter of fact, I'll save that for later. I don't want to skip ahead. So, you following? Okay, good. Some of us are here on serious missions. Some of us are not. I know for me, I literally just came to play. Again, if you watch my introduction, society's narrative can make us believe that we have to come to Earth and change the world. We have to come to Earth and we have to save the children. We have to fight the power. We have to rage against the machine. We have to make our mark on history. I won't say whether you should and shouldn't, because you should decide what's best for you. But again, it's really not that serious. It really isn't. And the moment you lift that weight up off of yourself, convincing yourself that you're here on some serious mission, which it could be, but probably not. You'll enjoy this game called life much more. Now, again, some of us are here on serious missions. I'm not. I am here as a form of rehab. This is a soul development game. Some of us are here voluntarily. I know in my case, I am here voluntarily. I did choose to come. Most source players choose to come. However, there are circumstances where you may involuntarily be tricked into coming to Earth. You may be trafficked into Earth, kidnapped. Some of you are cosmic wanderers who just somehow, some way just landed on Earth, and this is where you are. No matter how you came here, if you're a source player, all this information is relevant to you. And even if you aren't a source player, I still believe that there is relevant information you could pull from this material and apply to your life to have, again, just a more pleasant and joyful and beneficial experience while you are here. We are sharing space, so it would make sense. And maybe just give it a try. It doesn't cost anything. Let's see. Some of us remember what we came to do. Some of us don't remember. Some of us remember very early on as children. Some of us remember later in life. I know for me, I really didn't start to remember what I came here to do until about the age of 33. So maybe just a year ago. I've known that I was a source player, but again, there was something kind of impeding my memories. And again, if you watch the introduction, I do mention what was going on. But the moment that thing was lifted, shed, released, a flood of memories just downloaded. And I began to remember. And then I began to chill the fuck out. So again, knowing where you are gives you a great deal of relief. Some of us are born into our bodies. Some of us can hop into a body after the fact. I won't say which one is better, but I would say at this stage in the game, if you're looking for a true development experience, you would need to be born into a body to go through the full experience of what it means to be human and to grow as a human. Also, so you can become familiar with your body or your tool or your instrument, versus if you hop into a body that's already been around for 20 years, now that body has its own mind. And I'll get into that in about 2 episodes afterwards, but remember, you are not the body. The body on its own can function without a soul. It doesn't function in the most beneficial way, but it can function without a soul. So if you do come into a body that's already been around on Earth for a while, now you're going to have to literally get to know that body, get to know the damage, get to know the emotional regulation. You're going to have to take on literally a whole other person and merge them or sync them. But again, I don't want to move ahead too soon because we will dive deeper in that in about 2 episodes. But let's move on to the next slide.